Before we get into the video, a couple of safety things we must go through. So first thing, unplug the machine from the power supply. Isolate that plug so nobody else can plug it back in while you're working on it. Wear some safety gloves because inside the machine is some very sharp edges. And lastly, if you're not confident doing this, contact your local repair agent to help you out. So in this video we're going to show you how to remove and replace the extractor fan motor on your cooker hood. Now, for the benefit of the video, we have got the cooker hood on a bench. It is worth pointing out you don't always need to remove the cooker hood to do this particular repair, but it does tend to make the job easier for you. Now, I recognise it's not always possible to remove a cooker hood. It depends on how it's been installed. And generally you can still do this with it on the wall, but you do need to be careful and consider things that might be underneath it, like glass ceramic hobs and induction hobs and so on and so on. But yeah, if you can get it off, definitely easier with it on a bench. So if you are looking underneath the cooker hood, this is the view you would get. So the first thing we're going to do is remove these filters. Now, cooker hoods are quite basic units, electrically speaking. There's not a great deal going on, but this is your extractor fan motor. It's nearly always screwed in from the top of the cooker hood. So if you've been unable to remove it from the wall, likelihood is you're going to need to remove any sort of chimney surrounds, fascia surrounds that might be around it, and possibly a vent hose as well to gain access to the screws. But like I said, if you've got it on a bench, it's so much easier. First thing we're going to do, however, is follow the electrical connections from this into the junction box. So we're going to open this up and electrically disconnect it from everything else. So that starts by unscrewing this box. That's the screws out. Now this box just has a plastic cover on that's just clipped into place. So we just need to release the clips on it. And that is now free and off. So the electrical connections for the motor, if you follow the wires up, there's two wires going to this. There's also a cable tie tying it all together, so we're going to need to cut that cable tie. That's that off. Right, so this plug here on the board, I think it'd be easier if I just take the board out, do it that way around. My fingers on there. That's one of the wires. Now I think the only other wire that we need to disconnect is the earth wire, which happens to be screwed in inside there. That's the earth wire out as well. So these are the two electrical connections. That's just for the motor. So what I'm going to do now is just fold, or just drop the cooker hood onto its front, which are these here. So there's four, there's one there, one there, one there and one there. And that is the last screw. So now we just need to flip the cooker hood back up. So this is the cooker hood extractor fan. And that is it removed. Now there is a little cable harness attaching there. That is for the main power into the appliance. It's not going into the extractor, it's just clamped on there to stop it catching anything. So this here is your extractor fan motor. So if you're having problems with the motor not working, and you're confident that there's power where it needs to be, then this is a good thing to change. And as you've seen on the video, it's quite an easy change, especially if the unit is on a bench, but it's still very possible while it's attached to the wall. So if you're going to replace the extractor fan, I'm going to bring it back in now. Attach the main power clamp to it. Screw that down. So now I can just feed this back into the extractor, the cooker hood. Just like that. I just need to rotate it round again. So I'm just going to replace the 4 screws that were holding it in. Which is that. Now I'm just going to flip it back round again. So all we need to do now is connect the extractor back up by reconnecting the earth and by plugging it back in and tidying all the wires up in the junction box. So in this instance, the first wire I'm going to reconnect is going to be the earth wire, because it is a little bit awkward to get at. So that's that. Now I'm just going to connect the extractor back up to the junction. Get that up. That's in there. Now I just need to tidy up all the wires, make sure they're all back in a nice secure place. Alright, so that's back on. So just screw the protective cover back down. And that is how you replace the motor and get everything connected back up. So the last little thing, to put the filters back into place. Right, so that is how you remove and replace an extractor fan on a cooker hood. Now, as I've mentioned a couple of times already, it's definitely easier while it's on a bench, but this can definitely be done while it's on a wall. You just have to consider your safety and obviously preventing any damage to any of the other appliances in the kitchen. So yeah, that's extractor fans.